So, Keelan, what do you know about student loans?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Alright, okay, so question is, what do you know about student loans?
Huh?
What do you know about student loans?
Huh?
Okay, what do you know about student loans?
What?
How about you?
No, I don't know.
How much do you think college costs?
Oh, $100.
How about you?
$1,000. $1 per year.
Per year? How about you?
$20,000.
Okay.
My concern with student loans is the fact that that is a debt that is not dischargeable under bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go to school and I borrow money from the federal government under the FAFSA program. I wind up with it because what used to happen is this is going to sound funny, but this is actually what happened, is that students would borrow from the government to go get their law degree, and then because they learned how to practice law, then they knew how to declare bankruptcy. So they would go get their degree, have all this debt, and then file bankruptcy and get it discharged. Okay? So basically then they could walk away from their debt for free. And so the government came back and they said, wait a minute, that's not fair because, you shouldn't be allowed just to declare bankruptcy when you walk toward the education. So the debt became non-dischargeable. So my concern with student loans, somebody like you go out and borrow a bunch of money for student loans, and then, say that you get sick down the line, you're not able to repay the loans for whatever reason. Well, the debt doesn't go away. It stays with you for the rest of your life until it gets paid off. And that concerns me, that young people wind up having student loan debt that follows them forever. You can walk away from your car, you can walk away from your house, you can walk away from your marriage, you can walk away from your taxes, but you're still stuck with student loans. So, which loan is the best? What I would look for, if I were looking for a student loan, is there a way that I can borrow the money that ultimately it could be dischargeable? Like, can I borrow against credit cards? Can I borrow from a family member? Can I borrow maybe from the bank, if that would work? So which one is best? I'm not sure, but that's the framework that I would use to figure it out. Two is that I look for things that have fixed interest rates, because I don't like variable rates, because if the interest rate were to increase over time, that could make it all of a sudden unaffordable for me, and once again, it's not dischargeable, so I'm stuck with this debt, and there's nothing I can do about it. So at least having a fixed interest rate, at least I know what my payments will be, and then hopefully my finances will give me the ability to be able to repay it.
Mm-hmm. Now, actually, you answered a lot of my questions. I just have one more, if that's okay.
Sure.
Now, so where do you see this going in the future? What do you think will happen in the future, considering the state of our economy and, our government intervention?
Well, it depends on who's elected in November and who's elected in terms of the Congress. Where do I see us going? I see us borrowing more, and yet we as a people have a need for more entitlements and an appetite for them, and our government is basically encouraging more entitlements. My concern is that we wind up like Greece, where we have all entitlements, but we have very few people who are paying the tax in, and we're decreasing the tax base. Mm-hmm. So as we do that, and we have fewer people paying tax and more people expecting benefits, I think we can easily wind up in a situation that we don't have any growth, or very little growth.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we need to do is to broaden the tax base and make more people pay tax, but then also give benefits to companies who are employing people within the country.
Mm-hmm.
So, ultimately, will it get better? Well, the American economy just about always does get better. How long is it going to take? I'd say probably 5 to 7 years.
At the end of the day, we still did a loan. Instead of a student loan, we took advantage of some lowering interest rates We took out a little second loan on our home, and we were able to just finish off maybe another 10 or 15,000 that we needed to finish our son's education comfortably. So at the end, we did take a little bit of money out, but the fact with our lower rates, it actually, in the end, actually saved a little bit of money off of that. So we were able to use that as a little bit of a leverage. Not trying to have people go out and, get rid of their, do huge loans on their home to pay for their children's college. That creates its own problems, and it's probably why we've had a lot of the mortgage meltdown, as too many people were taking huge loans. I'm not talking about that, but you have to be very careful and know what you're doing. It also helps to have a wife who's an accountant like I do.
What's your general perspective from what you've seen your students having to go through, and just the present status of our economy right now, and just what situation most students are facing themselves?
I find I'm talking to a lot of students. Even today, I talked to a student who said, "Yeah, I got into USC, but we don't know how we're going to pay for it. It's expensive. It's very expensive to go to private schools. It's a great thing, and I recommend it. I'd recommend anybody to go to Loyola or USC or any private. A lot of private schools are great. They're really worth it. You get lots of individualized attention, but yes, you pay for it too. It's expensive. So how do you pay for it? Well, you have to be careful and just really do a lot of research on how you're going to get this money. If you're going to borrow some money, there are different things you can do to borrow money, and you have to ask yourself, in the long run, is a student loan the best way to go, or there's some other things we can do? From a parent perspective, I think it's important to do as much planning ahead and saving on the front end as you can, because when you do that, that lessens the need for student loans. I can tell you horror stories of people who just got way in over their heads with student loans, or they've got a college degree. Young people get a college degree, they take on student loans, and they get so much in debt. It's like they can get a nice job and a career, but they're just suffering for many, many years to come, because they're just spending decades trying to pay off their student loan, and I don't think that's a good thing. So you have to take all of these economic things into consideration when you're looking into getting into that college.
Where do you see our economy going? Maybe what solutions do you think?
Are you looking for a general turnaround in the economy? I think I'm seeing a general turnaround happening in the economy.
But more maybe let's say the student situation.
And for students, I think things are going to be good. My son graduated in 2010, and I can tell you that the economy has been kind of bad. It's been hard on students who are getting out of college right now to get with a degree. They might have a great degree, but the jobs just don't seem to be out there. I know in education, for example, I can speak to that. Studies have shown that there's going to be a real need in maybe the next 4 or 5 years for teachers. I think people have been really down on schools so much, and people aren't getting into teaching so much. They're not principals. There's a looming shortage of principals coming up. So there's going to be a real need for professionals, and I think in general there's going to be a need for that. And so I think people going to college is a great idea. Some people disagree with me on that. I think getting an education puts you in the top 25% of Americans as far as that can't be a bad thing. But I think the economy is going to turn around eventually. I mean, in my life, I've seen ups and downs in the economy, and you just want to be in position when the economy goes on an upswing. And if you're in that good position, you will be able to reap the benefits, and those benefits will be long-term, lifetime.